Hi, welcome to this episode of Black Beat Podcast. My name is John Washington, and I'm the CEO and editor-in-chief of Flossin Media. And I'll be your host for today's show, where we, as always, take an unapologetically Black approach to telling the stories that are significant in advancing the connectivity of our community. For those of you seeking for wellness and clarity to get through these trying times, we want to introduce somebody to you. I brought you today to Jacqueline Johnson, the owner of J Spa in Eugene, Oregon, who is also a licensed massage therapist, which I'm glad to hear, who works with the University of Oregon, and I'm glad to hear that too. Hey, welcome, sister. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
But if I'd have known you was a massage therapist too, we would have probably been a whole lot sooner than this. Sister, I am so glad to have the opportunity to talk to you about your spa. How's it been going these days? I mean, what's it in light of the pandemic and that kind of stuff? If you guys tell us a little bit about your business and your journey.
Well, I've opened the J Spa. We've been open now for about 3 years. And I initially opened the spa because I've been here in Eugene for about 11 years. When I first moved here, it was really hard just to find some of the basic necessities for skincare, hair care products. And instead of complaining about the problem, I wanted to find a solution for it. So that was kind of what prompted me to open up the J Spa. We are a multi-ethnic beauty supply retail store, as well as a full service day spa. So we do the full gamut. And as far as what's happening during COVID, I think ironically, we've been doing really good in our revenue sales. And I think a lot of people during this time of stillness have been focusing on self-care. And so we've had a lot of services, people coming in for massage services and just trying to take care of themselves during this stressful time. So we've actually been some of the lucky businesses during this pandemic.
Have you always been involved in beauty care and healthcare and all that kind of stuff? How far back you can remember when you shifted into that wellness approach to life?
Well, I've been a massage therapist for almost 20 years now. So
wow, sister.
Yeah, year 17 for me, almost year 18. And so yeah, I've been in the industry for quite a while. I've been an athlete for basically all my life. So that was kind of what made the shift for me. I've never had massage therapy until I went off to college, was a track athlete. And I was like, what? I've been missing this all my life. So I was curious to learn more. And once I did, I was hooked.
Did you run down Jacqueline at the U of O?
No, I'm a Gamecock. I went to University of South Carolina.
So, okay. Yeah, I didn't go down there neither. I mean, although I hung out, but I played at Rutgers University myself.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, right on. So did you work in the athletic field for a while with the wellness approach to this thing that you're doing now, or?
Yeah, so basically my background is sports physiology, and so after college, I actually coached track and field at the University of South Carolina. I was a sprints and hurdles coach there, as well as the head massage therapist for the track team. And then I came up here and was a volunteer sprints and hurdles coach here at U of O, and currently the lead massage therapist for U of O athletics. So yeah, I've had a long history in
yeah. 1, 2, 3, snap, right? I ain't mad at you.
Not
no more. Back in the day, it was me. It was 1, 2, 3, snap. I ran them intermediates in high school. I couldn't get it all figured out in college. Because they had us packed. That ball was a different kind of deal. But I did really enjoy the hurdles. I remember back then Nehemiah Johnson, all them cats. And
yes,
looking at them 12 threes and 12 8s and all of that. So I really did enjoy that track game. I wish I'd have stuck with it a little bit more, but y'all was a special breed, But I was a rabbit catcher though. Coach would always say, well, boy, see that man out there, he kind of fast. You think you can get him? And that's, as Sam, I had no choice. As a linebacker, that's the way it worked, right, Jacqueline? So, but I got all kinds of neck injuries and all that kind of stuff over the years, so it would probably behoove me to come down there and see you. So, what? Tell me a little bit, Jacqueline. What keeps you in this game? I mean, what keeps you moving forward in the profession?
I love what I do. Every client is different, every approach. I'm literally solving problems every day. And also the instant gratification, even on the massage side, and as well as the retail side. I'm providing a service that is not necessarily provided here for women of color, even men of color, providing hair care, ethnic hair care, skin care for people of color here in the area. We're just an underserved demographic, and I'm honored to be part of, be part of something that's not the status quo here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And speaking of here, how has here been treating you since you've been here?
say that again. I'm sorry.
How has Oregon been treating you, Jacqueline, since you've been here, since it's here?
Actually pretty well. I think that's why I stuck around here. I don't think I would be any place where I didn't feel, comfortable or, so I will say I definitely, my outlook on life is definitely different now. I like the simplicity of Oregon.
Right.
I do love that aspect of it. So it's been treating me well. I can't complain at all.
Cool, cool. Tell me a little bit about the services you provide down there at your
So we're providing massage services. We provide facial services, full body waxing, body treatments at this time. Hopefully, once we get on the other side of COVID, we can go back to hair services and nail services. So those are some of the things that we're offering now.
Cool, cool. Are you a part of any of the business networks or anything down there, Eugene, with your business?
I am a part of, there's a Black Professionals network here. Of course, I was a part of the chamber. I've gone through the Small Business Development Center, their small business management program, which is excellent. I would highly recommend that to any new business owner or established business owner. It was just an amazing program there at Lane Community College. So that was one of the best investments I've ever made since opening my business. So.
Wow. So you had alluded earlier, Jacqueline, that during the time of the pandemic, your business seems to be doing okay. Mm-hmm. Is there any things that you could attribute that to?
I will say in the beginning, I definitely set myself up for situations like this, for hard times. I planned for it. I always made sure that, extra cash flow on hand was taken care of. I also made sure that I had revolving revenue. So I have memberships here. We definitely kind of adapted to the changing in times with curbside pickup and online purchases. So I think being able to put ourselves in a place where we don't always have to be hands-on, we were still able to generate revenue even when we were forced to close our doors for 2 months. So.
Wow. Since at all the years you've been in business, I mean, what if we had to share that with some other up and coming young Black people in business going into being an entrepreneur, that kind of stuff? What have you learned since you've been in business? What are some of the significant things that keep you motivated and driven on this track that you're on right now? And what are some of the things that you would share with those people looking to go into business for themselves?
One of the biggest things that I've had to learn is celebrate the smallest milestones. If you get, $1,000 day, celebrate that milestone, or if you get whatever goal you set for yourself or whatever system you set up, celebrate those milestones, celebrate those goals, because that'll keep you kind of energized, because it is definitely a marathon. It's not a sprint. Especially in my first 2 years, I was waiting for that silver lining, and it didn't get there. And I will say year 3, this is actually 2020 is year 3 for us. And, we had a historic first quarter, and then we had to shut down. And so I think that kind of got me through a lot of things, just continue to celebrate those small milestones. Another thing is to quantitate everything. So make sure you're monitoring where you need to improve at. And the only way you can do that is actually
that's the track coach coming out of you now.
Come
on, coach.
The only way you can see where you're lacking is some type of way to measure it. And so whether that's knowing what your break-even margins are, or knowing what you need to make a day to break even, or what have you. You need to make sure everything is quantified, so you know how to improve, or what doesn't need to be improved, and kind of move on and work on the things that does. So I think a lot of businesses fail where they don't quantify and kind of measure things. So that's 2 of the biggest things that I've definitely I've learned.
Yeah, Coach, so since you and Jacqueline in the wellness, I hope you don't mind me calling you Coach, because it just rings in my head. This is ringing real true, Ms. Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
They still call me Coach Jackie.
Yeah, I know they do. And Sweetness, Al, and all of them, they still my partners. I still run with them. So all them track cats, man, I was, friends with them, most of them. But when you shift into that long ball deal, it's a different kind of mentality. We become meat eaters there. It's a little different. So, but in this climate, in light of your background in wellness and all that, I mean, let's shift a little bit to that CV-19. What's your thoughts on it, on the COVID situation in the country right about now? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I definitely think there's something there. I think this is a wake-up call for a lot of things, not just politically, but the health of our country, our lifestyles. Where people of color are disproportionately not surviving this, and so we need to figure out why. We need to definitely take a look at how we're living, what we're eating, how we're working. And that was one of the things that I had to do during my 2 months of not being still, I had to make a few decisions and figure out, all right, is this healthy for me? Is this gonna enrich my life, or is it gonna take away from it? So I think we just need to definitely figure out a healthier lifestyle in totality. And I think that's the biggest thing this whole COVID thing has unveiled right now for us.
You lose any folks in your family? Anybody close to you?
Yeah, I had a few people. I had my brother-in-law's father pass from it, and my sister's good passed away from it. So, and I had a few family members who had it back in Atlanta. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too. My sister's, actually my son was diagnosed with it just recently, but he was non-symptomatic. He just lost his taste buds and stuff like that, but it gets kind of scary. I mean, God, I've survived a lot of stuff over 60 years, girl, and I tell you, something that got me like feeling like the boogeyman out there ain't normal for me. But I ain't gonna push my luck on this one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go there. Hey, so So during the climate, did you have any opportunity to get any relief, or was there a need for you to move into any of the COVID relief type of situations? And did you tap into the COVID relief fund here in Oregon?
So yeah, I actually did, because I was unsure of what the business was going to do in the future months to come. So I did apply for, I think there was an economic disaster relief fund, and then of course the Oregon CARES
CARES Act,
fund.
right?
So
The CARES Act, right?
yeah, I did apply to both of those. Unfortunately, there was a lot of misinformation about the PPP. I should have applied for that, but I missed that opportunity just because I didn't think I would be a good candidate for it. And I think a lot of people of color missed that opportunity. But you know, you live and you learn.
Great. But did you receive the CARES Act? Any of the
I
CARES
did.
Act?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
did.
And did that have any kind of help you at all?
Of course, to be honest, any additional funding is helping us. Right now, I have a small business loan, so that's my focus. My focus is paying off that small business loan. That's what I've been doing during this pandemic.
Get it done. Get it done. That. What did you think about how the CARES Act came together for Black people? Because have you ever seen anything like that before? What they did, how they pulled that together on behalf of Blacks in Oregon, and were able to provide them with some type of support?
I've never seen that. I'm not even sure if they had that in a in a place like Atlanta, or some of the urban cities and states and things of that nature who have larger populations for people of color. But I will say initially, the process, I was a little disappointed, but then I also have a nonprofit, and we're actually giving funds out to people who've been affected by COVID. And so going through that process myself, it made me a little more empathetic to that process, since it was a new fund and there's systems set in place and all of that stuff. So the way they did it, I'm totally fine with it. I think initially I just thought I would get a little more communication
Right.
on things.
Right.
But other than that, I was satisfied with it. I was satisfied with what I got.
Right on.
Like I said,
Right on, sir.
anything that I receive, I'm grateful for, because
Great. Would you give a shout out? In that case, would you give a shout out to the CARES Act of Oregon for stepping up, or what, was it just a mediocre kind of a deal? What was your thoughts?
I wouldn't say anything that supports the business is not Black business is not mediocre.
I heard you. Did you
There's
heard?
nothing mediocre
You heard?
about having my best interest at hand.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So
Hey,
yes,
Jacqueline,
I give them a shout out. I appreciate
right on. Right on.
Thank you, and I hope we can continue this in the state of Oregon, because it definitely helped me.
Yeah. Hey, Jacqueline, I am so appreciative of you taking this time out with us this afternoon. You hear?
Yeah.
I've been able to manage to somehow or another become a cornerstone or a pillar in Oregon for the years that I've been able to manage to survive here. But even more so, like yourself, I've managed to do very well in Oregon. From everywhere from Jersey to Georgia, my daddy buried down there in South Carolina, in Port Helena, and that's where they all from. But we all live in Savannah, all my other people, mama and both of them got married there. So all my family is still there. But I tell you, it's always exciting seeing people who have that ability to forge ahead a path and an opportunity for themselves. And it takes something real special, sis. And yeah, maybe it's schooling, maybe it's the sports, the competitive realities that if something that has given us an internal drive to want to achieve and to push beyond some of our limitations. But I am very, very happy that I did make this journey here. I'm glad that people like yourself have managed to come in here and make a place for themselves. And then Eugene is a real special kind of place. So I want you to know you're on the cusp of some real special down there. You know, it's always so special coming through Eugene. They don't tell us what they might do down there, you know. But to have sisters like you down there representing this, kind of like, you know, that's the key.
Definitely implemented COVID protocols. So, of course, everyone is required to wear face masks, even during all services, except the facials, of course. And then we've staggered our appointments, so there's 30 minutes in between appointment times. So that's less in-person contact. You won't really run into another client. So typically you'll be the only person in the spa at this time. Of course, our beverage and snack stations, we've closed that just to reduce any type of contaminations or anything like that. And then we have hand sanitizers throughout the spa. We're, of course, cleaning our massage tables and any equipment that's been used, which is why we have the extended time in between clients for extra sanitizing and extra time for the sanitizing, things of that nature. So we've definitely put a lot of things in place. We're constantly cleaning. We're constantly cleaning door handles and anything any clients touch, as well as our massage therapists and other practitioners. We're also doing temperature checks for every client and every practitioner that comes through the door. So anyone with temperatures over that 100.3 is not permitted into the spa. So those are quite a few things that we're doing to kind of implement the COVID-19 protocol to keep everyone in the spa healthy.
You know what, Jacqueline, this thought was coming to me too, because I know you got a circle over there. I think, in fact, you were referred to us by one of your circle of girlfriends, Barbara Marbury over at
Yeah, Miss Marbury. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think she told me that you guys kind of get together as a group of supporting women. But John and I are in business, and doing business during this COVID, it can be like extra, right? How do you get through anything that feels too heavy, right? Have you had some emotional lows, or have you had some, I kind of heard you said that there was this peace, be still kind of in the moment, and you appreciated that. But, how are you weathering some of the emotional parts of navigating business during this time?
Well, I will say 2020 has definitely been an emotional year.
You think?
Not only just,
You heard?
I've definitely dealt with, of course, I've told you the business part of things that was, just troubling, just the unknown, not knowing. That's always just unsettling, especially not knowing when you'll be able to open. But then, I definitely had some personal things. My mom passed in August. And so there was just a lot of emotional things going on. And one of the things that has helped me definitely was our women's group, but also too, I've learned how to practice gratitude, because even though there's been some terrible things going on, around me, there's been some great things going on around me. And that's kind of where that milestone, that gift of celebrating those milestones come in. That's just another form of practicing gratitude, to never take anything for granted, because it's not promised. So gratitude has definitely gotten me through 2020 for sure.
So go ahead. No, do you believe that that you have a spiritual practice that is supporting your ability to persevere and continue to move forward? Or is it just something you just take lightly?
I definitely have a spiritual practice. I think too, a lot of times we have to find peace within. And so I think, and staying grounded too, just getting back to nature and the earth and all of that good stuff. I definitely think that that's a part of just
Right.
having a sense of peace. So
Yeah.
that's definitely what's helped
No,
me.
Fawn, she appears to me like when I do a lot of celebrity interviews type stuff, there's three questions. Even when I'm publishing the magazine, there's usually three questions that I like to ask them, and it's just along the lines of a spiritual practice. and I usually ask them the three questions that the Buddhists generally ask people. And those questions, one is to speak to me about love, to speak to me about death, and to speak to me about life. When I ask you those questions, I want you to give me an instant response, a response that you would have to relate to that question, okay, or to that statement. When I say, speak to me about life. When I say, speak to me about life, what comes to your mind?
I have one word that speaks to all three of them, and that's peace.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
Peace.
I mean,
That's good.
um, to live a happy life, I think you have to have peace to move on from death, or to be, to get through that. You have to find some type of peace with it, and then what was the third one you said? Peace,
Speak
life,
about life and the
Love.
love.
Yeah, love was the other one.
You have
You
to. That's self-explanatory right there.
Well, I don't know, is it? I mean, I love everybody, but maybe I should, but that thought originally comes to my head. I always think about my sisters and brothers back in Jersey. They be talking about, boy, I just can't stand him, something like that. But when you say, yeah, when love is self-explanatory, can you tell me more about that?
Well, I mean, I think all of that comes from self. I think I have love from everyone, for everyone, but just because I love you doesn't mean I have to deal with you or be in your space. I am maintaining my peace, and I'm approaching you from a peaceful standpoint.
Wow.
So if that's not what you're trying to put out there, or if that's not what you're about, I can love you from afar. So I think, and I think that's just where I am. I don't know if it's because I'm in my 40s and I feel like I'm in a different space or what, but I think peace has just been the word of the decade for me right now.
So. Yeah, that's a good one. I agree. That's and it does. It's spot on. It fits all three. So there's a lot of conversation going on, Jacqueline, about getting back to quote unquote normal, and yet there's certain segments of the population that said there's some things about the normal behaviors that we don't want to revisit. But for you, what does recalibrating back to center look like in 2021 as a business owner and as a just sort of an individual surfing through this life?
What's interesting, I've actually been contemplating that, and I don't know if we will even be back to a so-called normal in 2021, the way the numbers are looking. But I think there's always going to be maybe some type of, I don't know, a residue of us just making sure that we're staying protected. I think this is probably going to linger for a couple of years. So we're always going to have to be conscious of all the extended sanitation protocols and things of that nature. And so I'm planning to keep what we have in place for throughout 2021.
Yeah.
I don't see us getting out of this in the next year.
It's been just such a pleasure to learn more about the J Spa. So what are the hours, Jacqueline? How do we connect with you all?
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the J Spa Eugene, as well as you can find us at thejspa.com and schedule any appointments online or learn about any of the services that we actually provide. Our store hours, we're open Monday, Thursday, Friday from 10 to 7 p.m. We're open Tuesday from 10 to 6, as well as Saturday 10 to 5 p.m. So
okay, and can we get like gift certificates online? It is the season of giving. Should we?
It is the season of giving. Gift certificates actually are on sale, 20% off for the holiday season now through Christmas. So go ahead and
Nice. All right.
So fun, you can give your boss
Oh, we hitting up the J Spa. All right.
It's Miss J, again, the J Spa is on our mind. We do appreciate you coming out and giving us this time, Jacqueline. And again, as I said before, anything that we can do with you, we'll do for you, and we'll be more than delighted to walk alongside of you. This concludes this chapter of the podcast, Black Beat, and we certainly hope you enjoy yourself after you've listened to this conversation. And again, we thank you very much.